The Rangers march into the abyss, continued against the Lightning. Well, those highlights from the Garden, but we begin in Queens. The Amazons riding a 4-game winning streak, hosting the Marlins. Senga starts for the top of the first squad. Runners on the corners. He gets Eric Wagner to ground out to end the inning. Top of the second, facing Griffin Conine, and Senga gets him looking on the fastball. Myers. Senga goes back to the fastball for the strikeout. Top of the third, Kyle Stowers falls victim to the ghost Fort Senga. Goes 5 innings, allowing 5 hits, no runs, striking out 4. Bottom of the third, still no score.
Yo, so as people pop up, the national championship post-game show is on the radio right now. So I will go on after that. That might be a 90-minute show. You out here?
Yeah. Zeus, I got the slide tomorrow today, so I will see you.
It's Nets tomorrow.
Yes. Nets
So on after the Nets.
After.
That's okay. So I'll see you tomorrow.
No, I got the slide. So you'll see me Friday. But I'm just telling you that it's Lou Garrett 7:20. Then you're on after the Nets tomorrow.
Okay. So I'll see you Friday.
Yeah.
All right.
I did.
Later.
I think a lot of guys just see the guy in front of them.
Okay, so what I'm doing right now, little inside baseball. My last show was Friday. Much happened over the weekend, and when things happen in sports over the weekend, I will put together notes. So, like, I will put together Monday 3/7 in Apple Notes, and I'll just start clipping things like Duke chokes, collapse, Cooper Flag fouled, they can't rebound, whatever. We're not talking about that tonight. I'll have stuff about like the Trent Grisham 2-homer game and like the bottom of the Yankees order and how they played in Pittsburgh. We're not talking about that. The Pittsburgh Pirates remove Roberto Clemente's 21 in right field in favor of a Surfside ad. We're not going to get to that tonight. It's just not going to make the cut. So what I'm doing right now is shaving my notes and getting things out that we're probably not going to talk about. And just trying to refine what I want to talk about as far as the Yankees and Mets games go, because that's probably all we're going to really be able to get into and unpack. I'm not going to talk Knicks. I'm not going to talk Rangers. NBA Finals prediction. Let me take a look. I think the Celtics come out of the East. Let me think about who I want to come out of the West. I'd love it to be the Warriors, but I don't think it's going to be the Warriors. Nuggets, maybe? Maybe the Nuggets? I'd love it to be the Thunder, too. But, playoff basketball experience plays. You got to know, like, how to deal with those, like, very intense moments. It's about making shots, playing defense, knowing where your teammates are going to be, that type of thing. And it's a different level of intensity. And we see teams fold all the time that are regular season heroes. So I think we might be getting they just said about the rap. All right, what up, bro?
How we feeling?
Good. The fucking post game was going forever, so I'm just like, I was on Friday, and all the stuff that happens on the weekend is in my notes. I'm like, there's no way we're getting that. We're just gonna talk about the Mets and Yankee game, and I'm out of here. This is cake. This is nothing. Try and get as many calls as I can take, and then I'll roll.
I'm gonna probably end up playing like also probably 3-4 minutes.
That too.
Get us to where, like, depending on which day. Like, they end at like 12:20. Like, if they end up doing like a couple games here, like, oh, here's a one shining moment type.
Yeah, let me know. I'm ready to go. I've been here since 11 o'clock, so.
I got you. I'll see whatever they come out here with. I'll figure it out with that.
All right, bet. Yeah, so that's Big Zoo, my producer. He's saying, all right, they're about to wrap the post game, but they might do one shining moment or something like that. Whatever, bro. This is cake. I say it's cake because like I'm used to filling 5 hours of airtime, and I have enough in my notes that I could do 5 hours tonight, and my show ends at 2. With all the breaks and all of the calls, and the callers are gonna go different ways. Like you just gotta hit it. You just gotta hit it. You just gotta. It's gonna be, the New York Mets to the Victor Go to spoils. We're gonna talk about the Mets. We're gonna talk about the Mets' strong start here back in Queens. We're gonna talk about the pitching. They've got the best pitching in baseball right now. The pitching is ahead of the hitting. They're finding ways to win. They're imposing their will. The make it happen Mets, as I dubbed them, they're making it happen. The fans are showing up. The ballpark is packed. The weather is not there, but the vibes are there. Alex, what up, yo? Speaking of the weather, this weather is cheeks. Yeah, it is. Hopefully that changes by Friday, bro, because I'm trying to pull up to the stadium Friday. That's another thing. Like, I'm not beat to go to these April games because of the weather. So Friday, 90% chance of rain, of course, right now. And that's the game I'm trying to go to. So let me keep ear to the right now. I'm in here watching Yankees post game. And I'm listening to
Florida, your national champion, 65-63.
I'm listening to the national championship. That's what we have Westwood's coverage, Westwood One's coverage of. So when this is over, we're gonna rip it. Was good, Keith. Rodon a bit disappointing again. More than not. Not surprised. I have no faith in the guy ever. He signed a 6-year, $162 million contract. We're not even halfway through, so I don't know what to expect. He's just like his demeanor, his way. I just don't like his way. You know what I'm saying? It's fake to me. I don't feel like it matches who he is. So it is what it is, yo. That game, and I'm gonna talk about it tonight, and I don't want to do it because like I want to win. I want him to be good, but like I get bad vibes when he's on the mound, and I know they do too. I know the team feels the same way. It's hard to feel good about Rodon on the mound. He's always crying. He's always pounding. He's always complaining. It's like, bro, be a dog, please. Go out there and be a bulldog. That's what I thought we were getting. Thought we were getting a left-handed bulldog. Thought we were getting a hefty lefty that was gonna go up. Not hefty, but like give you the vibes of a CC type or a Boomer Wells type. Like we needed a left-handed pitcher, and like we got this guy. Yitzy, I didn't even see you were first. Thoughts on Rodon? You guys are gonna hear my thoughts on Rodon. I'll hold them. I'm gonna do it on air for everybody in New York and listening on the free Odyssey app to hear. So I don't like giving up a homer in the first 3 innings every start. He can't keep the ball in the ballpark. It was so predictable too. You walk the 8-9 hitter and you don't get a call, you cry about it, and then you leave yourself vulnerable. Like, tighten up. So that game was over, bro. In the freezing cold and the light snow of Michigan, that was over.
Was that Paul Goldschmidt be a seat holder at first base, and the Yankees would back up the truck for Vladdy? Well, it's time for another plan. Guerrero and the Blue Jays are reportedly in agreement on a 14-year, $500 million contract extension. So
I'm just getting my ducks in order right now.
Well, I think this, to me, and this affects
Mets win tonight. I need to get this box score in front of me. Let's go scores here. Let's put the stats here and the standings here. And get these emails out of here. I don't need emails during the show. So the Dodgers lost to the Nationals. We'll talk about the out-of-town scoreboard at some point. Let me get this Mets game up. Soto doubled for the third run. They should be wrapping this up now.
Plus, we know the Knicks are playoff bound, but with Jalen Brunson back on the floor, how far should we expect them to go? That is on the way when Sports Night continues. Only.
Okay, here we go. Should be coming up now.
Honda Sports Night is brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Contact your local Honda dealer for a great
On my Twitter, they're like, the people were waiting. They're like, yo, they're dragging. I'm like, bro, I've been in here, bro. What, you got 4 minutes here? You got to play these. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Boom Wife, what up? End of the Mariners game was good. Had a relief pitcher come in, made it halfway through the outfield, and they sent him back. I got to look into that. This is going to be quick, though. It's just going to be reaction and conversation about, Mets and Yankees for the most part. Let me see here. I'm probably not going to talk any NFL. Yeah, we're mostly going to hate on Rodon. As I'm taking things out of my notes right now. I got something I want to look for right now. Last year, I remember being at Fanatics Fest, trying to watch Rodon pitch. It was August. So if I go back to August, we were in the Yankees, we're in Detroit, and we lost. Was it the second game? Box score. Cole pitched that game. Was it the first game? No, it had to be the 31st. I'm trying to find it right now. No, it was the first game. I scrolled all the way back to 2023. I'm like, that's why it's not coming up correctly. Yeah, we lost 4-0 to set up Tarek Skubal. I almost curse. I can't curse on air. I can say fuck on here. But I remember, I'm like, we lost We lost that game, and then it set up Tarek Skubal for the Little League Classic, yo. Rodon went 3 1/3, 7 hits, 4 runs. Ibanez got him back then, too. I'm going to leave that. All right. Here we go. All right. If you want to talk on air, 888-808-1019, you'll be on probably relatively easy. I've got no calls, and this is going to be a quick one, yo. No screw on this side, Janky Mike. Let's see what y'all are talking about before I go on. Have a good show. Have to. It's quick. Just arrived, but we need to mention the Yankee savior, DJ the Machine. They just had him come back because he's from Michigan. Saturday afternoon, right? Correct. Rodon got smacked. He got chased early. Dominguez is on his way to Miami. Yeah, I don't know about that. Maybe we'll talk about it tonight. Here we go. Yeah. What up? I've been in here for like the last 90 minutes waiting. I was sitting here like, yo, Houston, what goes on? Get a shot off. Duke somewhere like, should have been us. Houston just choked. Worse than Duke choked in the Natty. Congrats to the Gators, UF, Florida, but like nobody cares about that. Or maybe you care about that if you're listening. But here, I know fans have been waiting to get on the fan to talk about those make it happen Mets. And I know Yankee fans can't wait to complain about Carlos Rodon. This is about 90 minutes that I have here. And when you consider the breaks and the calls, I don't even know. Maybe I'll get in half of what I had in my notes. Because when you do a show Friday and then you're off all weekend, you know, you're writing in things about Ovechkin. You're writing in things about Duke. You're writing in things about Roberto Clemente. You're writing in things about Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We're not going to have time for all that tonight, folks. 888-808-1019. This is Keith McPherson, your nighttime host. Let's get right into it. I've been pretty consistent with this. To the victor go the spoils. I've been pretty consistent with this. You win, you're the first one in. So we're going to start with the Mets, the make it happen Mets. There's nothing to troll. There's nothing to make fun of. There's nothing to laugh at. Let the good times roll in Queens. I'm serious. The fans are showing up. They're breaking records. The fans are showing up. They're throwing garbage on the field. They're running on the field. Okay, see, that's a little bit of a troll joke. But you know what I'm saying. The Mets are winning. That's 5 games in a row. Coming off a sweep. The make it happen Mets. Why did I start calling them the make it happen Mets? In 2022, I felt like there were so many games that were stale or stagnant where you didn't feel like anything was going to happen, and then they made it happen. They never say die. They imposed their will. And, I mean, they did that Saturday night. They did that again tonight. So the Mets win 2-0. It's another shutout this year. Their pitching is way ahead of their hitting, and that's good. Jeremy Hefner's laboratory. It's a legit thing. And Stearns, he prides himself in building a bullpen and being able to pitch. They're the best in baseball. There's multiple people talking about it. It's not a secret. It is early, but they rank first in every category, and they added to that today, putting up zeros. And when you're not so sure about the starting pitching, but the bullpen is nails, overall, you can get by with your offense not being what you expect it to be. overall, you can get by with your lineup not clicking the way that they're supposed to click. And I mean, like, Juan Soto is going to be Juan Soto. He might not be hitting the ball out of the ballpark, but he's got a 10-game on-base streak. He drove in one today. Lindor, let me not skip over Lindor. Lindor with 15,000 hits. Lindor with his energy, leading off, starting the game. It's impactful. It's real. Him getting on base, knowing that he's got the big bats coming behind him to drive him in. I mean, it's a recipe for success. It's a recipe for winning. You can go 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. I think it was 1 point late in the game. I heard Howie say that. I think it was going into the 8th. Get the win. You know, guy like Jose Siri comes into the game. He's a burner. He steals a base. Next thing you know, he's scoring, going from second to home on a single. So the Mets are winning at home. They haven't lost since they've come back to Queens. And I haven't said this name yet, but you got to thank this guy, Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso brought the vibes. Pete Alonso saved the day coming out of Miami. Just think about how different the feeling would have been opening day if you lost to the Marlins. You got to handle the Marlins. You know what I'm saying? Like that is standard. That has to happen. I know what happened to the Braves to start this season. I know what the Phillies are. They just stepped up to the Dodgers. What has to happen for the Mets, they cannot lose series to the Marlins. And tomorrow's game is moved up. I'm sure you guys have heard. If you haven't heard, with the weather, and we'll get to the Yankees in a minute, the Mets announced that the game, well, it's not tomorrow. Good morning. Good morning. It's almost 12:30. The game has been moved up to 4:10 p.m. due to weather. It was originally 7:10, 3 hours earlier, 4:10 p.m. I still, I'll say this. I don't think that's going to affect the crowd too much. It might be a little bit of a later arriving crowd, but Mets fans were there in the cold. I saw these young boys, some high schoolers out there with their shirts off. I mean, they're out there counting down the pitch clock like Giannis and Barclays. I remember being in Barclays Center when we had the clock for Giannis's free throws, and then Adam Silver made the Nets take that down. Because we were counting 10, 11, 12, 13. I think it's hilarious that the fans are out there counting down the pitch clock and getting guys off their game. Was it Sandlin the other night that came out of the bullpen for John Snyder and the Blue Jays? I told y'all the Blue Jays are frauds. And if you don't think I'm rooting for the Mets to sweep the Blue Jays, you don't understand how I watched the game. 888-808-1019. The Mets are winning. They're finding ways to win. They're pitching. Their pitching is ahead of their hitting, but it's cold outside. They're not making excuses for cold, rainy games. They're going out there handling business in front of packed houses, sold-out crowds, and they find another way to win tonight. And you'll take it, especially early on in the season. What a difference a year makes. This year feels nothing like last year. What a difference a year makes. Mendoza's second year on the job. Guys like Lindor leading the way. They know they got to start fast. They know they got to start early. Guys like Jesse Winker being back. What a big weekend for him. They know that there are expectations now. They know that the fans are coming out to the ballpark because Steve Cohen put it out there. Hey, we expect to see you. So, yeah, guys like Brett Beatty aren't beating the allegations of quadruple A. He's struggling, but you can overcome it. A guy like Mark Vientos struggled a little bit, but he's coming out of it. They have the best pitching in baseball. No team has a better ERA from their pitching staff. They rank first in pretty much every category. We'll go through them. You can go to Fangraphs. You can go to wherever you go. They are getting it done. And, yeah, shout out to Pete Alonso again. Two things with Pete Alonso. Congrats to him and his wife. They are expecting their first child. So now you're going to get dad strength polar bear. And you know what? Vladimir Guerrero Jr., as much as some Mets fans, cheered him on opening day, and as much as Steve Cohen spoke about him in spring training when people asked about that situation, the Toronto Blue Jays heard all of that, and they said, no, we're going to get it done. And I know Friday I was on. I said I thought it would get done because they weren't that far apart, and they took care of Alejandro Kirk. And I'm like, if they got the money to take care of Alejandro Kirk, they're not about to pay somebody else on the team after they did all that with this man. Vladdy is a Canadian-born player from his pops playing with the Montreal Expos. And, Vladdy is a guy that I think they overpaid for, but they had to. because nobody wants to take their money. They were in on Ohtani for over 700 million. They were in on Juan Soto for over 700 million. There were rumors that they were in on Pete Alonso. Well, that dream is dead. And you know what I always say? The universe never unconnects, man. All this was supposed to happen. There were so many people talking about, oh, we don't need Pete Alonso. Oh, what if Pete signs with the Blue Jays and he comes here on it? No, you need that guy. But yeah, shout out to Vladdy. 14 years, $500 million. Good for him. But it changes the marketplace now. It changes free agency now. I did see my guy Dan Bartles put out there a quote from Steve Cohen in regards to Pete, the polar bear, basically saying about an extension with Pete, we're open to it. I hope Pete has a tremendous season. That would be great for the Mets, certainly for him. Hopefully that means we can figure out a way to extend the arrangement. We'll worry about it when we worry about it. Now, I remember last week, some hosts on The Fan worrying about it being a catch-22, and I got on to say there is no catch-22. You want Pete Alonso to have the best year ever. You want him to go get the home run record. You want to have a whole festival party celebration when he breaks that record, and then you want him to keep hitting home runs. You want him to have so good of a year that you do have some difficult conversations. And you know what? Pete is more inclined, especially now with having a kid, he's more inclined. He's not going to go anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's definitely not going to Toronto now, but like, he wants to be a Met. And if he has a banner year and test free agency, sure, somebody else is going to go out there and drive the price up. But hey, reminder, you have the richest owner in the sport. If he wants the guy, he's going to get him. He's going to be back. So these are all good things. 888-808-1019. Shout out to Max Kranick, too. I've been listening a lot to Howie Rose call the game. And, you know, they tell his story a bit. I'm big on fandom. I'm big on stories. I think it's amazing for a kid to root for a team and then grow up and play for that team. The Yankees have a few guys like that, and we'll transition into talking about the Yankees. Do you want the good news first or the bad news first with the Yankees? Good news? Oh, good news is Adam Ottavino's back. Bad news is Adam Ottavino's back, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He might be gone. They're saying Ian Hamilton might be activated, whatever. Right now with the Yankees, I'll say this. You got to win that game to sweep the Pirates before you go into freezing conditions in Michigan and lose that game with Carlos Rodon on the mound. And then here comes Tarek Skubal. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to find a way to win that game. And I appreciate that they have a rally in their bones and that they never say die and they fight in the ninth inning and the bottom of the order is hitting. But there's already been so many little mistakes. And there's so much, you know, that we can say about torpedo bats and the offense. They have the number one offense in baseball and how they're performing. Coming off of last year, you know what the narrative is going to be about defense and pitching and little mental issues that the Yankees have. And they've got to tighten up. They've got to tighten up. 888-808-1019. I know it's early, but before you know it, it's not early. And these games count in April as much as they count in September. You need them. You need them. And don't look now. The division is going to be on our heels. 888-808-1019. So I understand what we're going to talk about with the Yankees today. Going into Michigan, where they also changed the start time. Freezing cold temperatures. You're out there watching a snow baseball game in the middle of the day. You know, Judge is out there wearing the Pooh Shiesty mask. You guys know Pooh Shiesty? When you're on Yankees Twitter and they're saying Shiesty Judge or Wells and Jazz, they're wearing a Shiesty mask, Pooh Shiesty. Go look up Pooh Shiesty. Or don't. It's really just a ski mask. It's really just a Nike ski mask. I got one. 888-808-1019. So these guys are cold. And you know what? They've fallen victim to the weather. Think about the games when the weather's good, right? That Saturday game when it was 77 in the Bronx, 9 homers, 20 runs. A game like this, I knew they were a wrap. And you know what? I was looking at one guy, as these guys all have, you know, their Nike Dry Fit, their Pooh Shiesty mask, their Under Armour, whatever, gloves. They're all bundled up in Michigan. Shout out to DJ LeMahieu back with the team because he's from Michigan. Little homecoming for him. Carlos Rodon comes out there, who's normally the sweatiest guy on the team, and he's just got the jersey on. He doesn't have an undershirt. He's just going thin jersey. Tough guy. And there's been plenty of times where I talk about Rodon, that he wants to be this bulldog. He wants to be this tough guy, but his bark is always bigger than his bite. And he's going to be a Yankee for another 3 seasons after this. 6 years, $162 million. And as soon as I want to give him credit for his last start, like, yeah, you know, he battled through, he gave us some length. Yeah, he did that today. But there's just this negative vibe around Rodon starts. I don't have any faith in him. And I feel like the team catches his vibe. He's always got this like look on his face. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. You know, if you watch the game. So the whole thing we're going to talk about with this game is that third inning. And before I get into that, the umps in Major League Baseball are terrible. And I think they're going to be at all-time bad this year because they know that this ABS system is on the way. They all started off spring training with an ABS system where they all got checked. I don't have the numbers on it. You should follow ump scorecards on Twitter, and you'll see how bad these guys actually are on a night in, night out basis. I know they all have their own zones, but like their zones are traveling zones. They change. It's ridiculous. So with that being said, I say that to say this: Carlos Rodon, don't expect anything from these umpires. Don't expect them to give you anything. Right? They don't give Judge anything. Just this early on in the season, there's been at least 8 balls that were called strikes on Judge where I'm like, there's no way, yo. There's no way. This guy's 6'7". I said the other night, I wish I could bet on FanDuel over under missed calls by the umpire. I hit every night. I'm taking the over. It's egregious. It happened in Yankee Stadium. I don't know if it was like Malachi Moore. I hate looking at the box score and going to look for the home plate ump's name. I don't want to know these guys' name. They're not even supposed to be seen. They're supposed to officiate the game. But anyway, if I know that and you know that, Carlos Rodon, you got to know that, bro. And then when you show up the ump talking about that's bad, hand on your hips, throwing a hissy fit, what do you expect? What do you expect? That's on you. And, you know, I was watching the Wrap. I watched, obviously, Yes Network. I was watching the Wrap on MLB.com. You know how they say, like, you can watch the, like, post-game Wrap. And they cut audio from the Detroit announcer. And I'm not sure who calls it the Detroit games. I'm not that deep into it. But the Detroit announcer literally says, having watched Carlos Rodon in his time pitching for the Chicago White Sox, this is the kind of inning that can get under his skin. And that's exactly what happened. You walk the 8-hitter, you walk the 9-hitter, and then you've got this like puss on your face and this look about yourself where like you got to get it together, bro. They're not giving you anything. And then, you know, Ibanez 3-run bomb, and it's freezing cold out there. And these guys haven't had a day off. And I'm not making excuses for them, but just like, you can't let that happen. You can't let that happen. I don't know. Ben Rice getting picked off. Cabrera had an error. There's just little things like that in the game. I'm like, these guys are cold. Baseball is a hard game to play in the freezing cold like that. It's hard to hit the ball. Jazz striking out again. How does Jazz catch Rafael Devers and have more strikeouts? Jazz has the second most strikeouts in Major League Baseball at 19. Come on, buddy. And he's always barking at the umps. He's always turning around, checking the umps. These umps are not giving you a thing. I mean, a few years back, it was Yankees versus the umps. Wasn't that long ago that Gardy was banging on the dugout because the umps were so bad. And I mean, Boone has relaxed. Boone does not want to be the guy getting tossed, known for getting ejected. He wants his numbers to come down because he's been tossed so much. But I don't know, man. That whole game was right there. The Yankees did not hit enough. Even the runs that they scored, they had a couple gifts. And yeah, I mean, they lose. 888-808-1019. So let's talk Mets. Let's talk Yankees. And if you want to sprinkle anything in from the weekend, that Duke game. You know what's even more incredible? Like, I don't even like the show White Lotus. My wife makes me watch it on Sunday nights. I'm so glad it's over because I'm usually like I don't know. If you've listened to me, I told you I watch sports. I can't watch streaming shows. Like, fake reality does not keep my attention. Like these random people in Thailand and all these. I'm so happy to not know these characters anymore. But as I'm half asleep watching the show last night, I'm like, yo, the dad has the Duke shirt, and that family, like, you know, the son, Patrick Schwarzenegger, Arnold Schwarzenegger's son, like they went to Duke. They're from North Carolina. And then the black lady, her son, you know, they start talking and he's talking about how he went to University of Houston for business. I'm like, there's no way they scripted this where the day after we watch Houston beat Duke, they have it. Of course they did. They didn't shoot that this weekend. I'm like, that's just universe never unconnects. And then the girl with the teeth, with the buck teeth and the SpongeBob gap, she says the universe never unconnected or something like that. I'm like, yep, see? I had a Leonardo DiCaprio point at the TV. I'm like, see? She's using my stuff. Universe never unconnects. Let's talk sports. Keith McPherson on the fan. It's 888-808-1019 if you want to get on the line. Taking your calls on the Mets and the Yankees. I really think that's all we're going to have time for. We don't have to talk about the Rangers, the Devils. The Devils had to get some payback. We don't have to talk about that. We'll talk about the Mets. They're rolling, and you got to tip your cap to the way that they're getting it done with all the pressure and all the hype and all the expectations, and the fans are showing up. And the Yankees, as much as they're the Bronx Bombers, as much as they have the best player in the game, the Yankees have some weaknesses in this rotation. Clark Schmidt will be back. But you saw, Marcus Stroman over the weekend, and we can talk a little bit about the games over the weekend as well. But I want to break so we can get to you guys. I already see the calls loading up. You know the number to dial. Keith McPherson on the fan. I will be right back. All right. So we're open for business. Quick open. Let me see what you guys are talking about in the chat. Dominguez and Warren for Sandy Alcantara. Cashman will pull the trigger after 2 more Rodon outings. Yeah, we're gonna need somebody else. I'm sure somebody's gonna call and say so. We're gonna need somebody else. Because who are you throwing? Max Fried, obviously. We need Heel to come back. Max Fried is getting a start in the postseason. Marcus Stroman's not getting any starts. They're not even going to let him get his 140 innings. So it's like Fried, Heel, Schmidt, not Carlos Carrasco. C is for Cookie. That's good enough for me, Carlos, but I'm talking about this is a team that's going to be in the postseason vying for another AL pennant trip to the World Series. But how? Cole is sorely missed right now. So, man, go get another frontline starter. Go get another frontline starter. You need an ace. I don't know if it's going to be Alcantara because what they're asking for him, ransom. They're going to want George Lombard Jr., and we're not doing that. Kodai Senga and Jose Budo were amazing tonight. Yeah, the weather is not affecting everybody. They went out there and shoved. Ryan Stanek gets his first save. You can rely on Budo for 2 innings. Danny Young, good enough, kid. Good enough, kid. Alejandro Kirk is using Odd Job on GoldenEye. Shouldn't be allowed in competitive play. He's not bad. He's not bad. Sometimes he can hit, and he's not a bad little catcher. He just looks weird. He looks like an Odd Job. His velocity is concerning. He's been sitting 93. He's not fooling anyone with that. Yeah. I don't know what to say about Rodon. Jazz is just as bad at second as Gleyber, but Gleyber is a better hitter. Letting him go was a mistake. Nah. We had to move on from Gleyber. Jazz, the thing about Jazz, he can be annoying too, but I just was so tired of Gleyber with the nonchalant mistakes. Jazz is going to make mistakes too, but Jazz is going to be more solid, more athletic, more consistent. Schmidt comes back most likely. It's Warren sent down. What do you think? Yeah, of course. He's young. He's got the options. He's a rookie, a whole rookie. Service time manipulation. Yeah. Will Warren. And then we'll see. We'll go from there. Yeah, Rafael Devers has 17 strikeouts. Jazz has 19. And then the only one that has more strikeouts than Jazz is Seiya Suzuki, but he played in 2 more games than Jazz. answering tweets. All right. You know what I gotta do? I gotta send a YouTube link because some people watch on YouTube, and I think I'm done streaming on Instagram for real. Let me see here. Should be like watch on YouTube. Share, copy. Show started, streaming live on YouTube. Mm. Mm-mm. All right, let's get it, man. KM to AM. Going to 2 a.m. It's funny. I just heard that drop with Dave and Susan. And like I said, I've been listening to how we call the games on 880 Mets radio. And, you know, the rivalry is fun. Some people take it too far. I'm talking about Mets versus Yankees, you know, Queens versus the Bronx, Yankee fans versus Mets fans. It's fun, especially when both teams are good and the energy is this jacked up, and like Howie plays it well, right? Howie will crack a joke, or Howie will tell a story, and then he'll bring it back around and he'll say, "You're not getting this from Dave and Susan," and I laugh every single time. Like, that is just his way of leaning into the rivalry because we're all, you know, competing for the same real estate. You know, we're all right next to each other. Mets, Yankees, this one's better. Big brother, little brother nonsense going on. Juan Soto chants, Yankees suck chants. There were plenty of Yankees suck chants in Queens tonight. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. So some of you guys take it a little too far. But I think there are a lot of people in this back and forth rivalry that get it, that it's all fun and games. This is entertainment. This is sport. Mets versus Yankees. Howie's one of them. So I wanted to give a nod to him with that. I'm sure he has a relationship with Dave Sims and Susan Waldman and probably likes them both. But when he gets an opportunity to tell a story or crack a joke, he'll bring it around by saying, "You're not getting this from Dave and Susan," talking about, hey, we got a better broadcast. I'm sure Gary, Keith, and Ron think they have a better broadcast than Michael Kay with Paul O'Neill, Michael Kay with Flash, Michael Kay with whoever Michael Kay is with. So 888-808-1019. Bobby is in Belmore. He's first on the Fan. Yeah, they dodged Skeens. Here comes Tarek Skubal. They got lucky.
Right. Well, they got lucky tomorrow, but the Mets, yes, they have you know, real good pitching, but you know who's the worst clutch hitting team in the league right now? It is the Mets.
They're leaving everybody on base. Yes. But they're able to overcome it because their bullpen is giving up nothing. They can win 2-0. They can win 2-1.
Yeah, and that's just how that is. And when the hitter will get better, you know, when the weather gets warmer.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now I want to talk about. I know you told me not to talk about hockey, but I have to talk about because I grew up with the Islanders. Ovechkin. Now I think a better comparison. They compare with Gretzky. But I think a better comparison would be with Mike Bossy. I mean, I know it was before his time. I went to Hofstra, so I lived through that in the 80s, and I graduated in 85. And Mike Bossy averaged 0.75 goals per game, the highest in the history of the NHL. He had 9 straight 50-goal seasons, the highest in the NHL history. Again, best of one by Gretzky. Yeah, obviously he played on 4 cups and all that, 19 straight series. But even as a defenseman, I know Ovechkin is very physical. And he actually has 250 more hits to break the record, like for most hits by a player. But you know, Bossy actually became a real good defensive player. The reason why Bossy was drafted 15th, and everybody past, including Rangers, they drafted Blue Sands Red Wall.
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't a defensive player, but Alec, being a genius, said, well, we could teach him how to play defense. That's why he didn't get drafted. He wasn't tough enough, his defense. But those offensive skills, those are God gifted. And Al made him into such a good defensive player, he actually killing penalties towards the end of that Stanley Cup run. And so I think Gretzky overlooked. Gretzky was saying, Gordie Howe, to Bobby Orr, himself, Messier. I understand Bossy actually played with the second greatest, maybe the second or third, between him and Messier and Brian Trottier. Messier might be the second and third greatest centers of all time. But I mean, people overlook Bossy. I know he played 10 seasons because of his back issues.
Thanks for the call, Bobby. I don't have the time to do. I respectfully gave you some run there. We just don't have the time to talk. It wasn't even Ovechkin. If you wanted to talk Ovechkin, we can't run through history and who's the greatest and who's the GOATs tonight. I don't have the time. I don't. People are trying to talk about the Mets. Rich is in Newark on the fan. Rich, what you got?
Hey, what's going on, Keith? I just want to start off by saying I'm a big fan. I actually heard your bars the other day. Not to lie, you're pretty good at freestyling. You should continue.
Yeah, I gotta find a little alleyway somewhere to cipher with some people in New York City, But once in a while, I like to sprinkle some into my show on the fan.
Yeah, that was great. But I also do want to. I'm a Mets fan. I do want to start off by saying I don't know if I'm too premature by saying I'm super excited about
You're not. You're allowed to feel that way. You're supposed to feel that way. That's what we waited for. Go on.
Our pitching is giving me flashbacks of 2006 because we had veteran pitchers in our pitching that 2006 and we started off pretty great. The Mets only allowed 22 runs through 10 games, which is the best in franchise history through the first 10 games, which is more than you could say at this time last year, correct? I don't want to be in September scratching and clawing through, trying to climb a wall with my nails.
Don't worry about September. Enjoy being 7-3 now. Enjoy a winning streak now. And enjoy the fact that your pitching is so far ahead of the hitting and you have hitters. You have people coming back. Right now you're playing without Luis Torrens. You know what I'm saying? Right now you're getting by with Brett Beatty and the help is on the way. Feel excited about stealing these games 3-2, 2-1, 2-0.
Yes, I just want to add one more thing. I can't remember the last time I even, we're doing this with pitching staff that we don't even have a Cy Young a candidate on our starting roster. It's not just our bullpen, it's our starters as well. You know what I mean?
Tyler McGill. I just put my future bet on Tyler McGill, Cy Young. So far, so good.
All right. Well, one more thing before you cut me off. But so quick question. So Starling Marte is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. I know we have to address our pitching staff, but we also have to address our outfielders. Do you think maybe is a possibility when Starling Marte leaves at the end of the season that we could make a run for Kyle Tucker?
Oh, now you're getting greedy, Rich. Thanks for the call. 888-808-119. Don't leave Kyle Tucker to the Yankees and the Yankee fans. You could make a run for anybody. Are the Cubs going to trade him? Is he going to want to play for the Mets? If you offer him the bag like you offered Soto, yeah. That's something that came up in conversation now with Vladdy signing, right? Now Kyle Tucker rises to, the top free agent in the offseason. I don't think the Yankees ever were really going to pursue Vladdy. I don't think the Mets really were either. You just, in theory, know that they could pay him. And with him turning down the original offers from the Blue Jays, many people thought, well, he saw what Juan Soto got. Let me tell you this, and let me tell you this now and for years to come, nobody is getting what Juan Soto got for a long time, for a very long time. That's why you're seeing all these extensions getting done. That's why you see some of these players like Jackson Merrill talking about. Nobody is touching that contract. That contract is going to stand for a long time. And I wouldn't, if you're an outfielder or if you're whatever, I wouldn't look at what Juan Soto got and ask for anything close to that. Juan Soto is Juan Soto. And Juan Soto is going to bang at some points. I wouldn't expect him to be, right away, but he's still Juan Soto. When the Mets lineup gets going and the pitching is still there and you get help back, Like they're doing this without, Alvarez is working his way back. Jeff McNeil is working his way back. Sean Manaea is working his way back. Deadnil Nunez. That's what, like, when I'm watching these games, I'm like, they are not even close to their final form, and they're starting to roll, and they're starting to have the energy and the fans behind them. They look like a good team. They look like a team that believes. They have a good manager. They have a good president of baseball operation. Like, you should be excited about that. Charles is in the Upper West Side on the Fan. Go for it, Charles.
Yo, Keith, what up, my man?
What up, what up, what up?
Yo, people gotta start putting some respect on David Stearns, man. They really got it. I gotta tell you, bro, I called you up in the winter, and when the Mets signed Griffin Canning, and I was like ranting and everything. I was ranting. I was all pissed off, bro. I was wrong. I gotta admit when I'm wrong.
That's okay. I think when we saw what he was with the Angels, we're like, Griffin Canning for what? I forget who else was out on the market where we're like, you could have signed this guy. You went to get Griffin Canning.
Yeah, this is what Stearns is doing. This is what he's done his whole career. He's got a track record.
Hefner's Laboratory. Thanks for the call, Charles. Jeremy Hefner and this lab is a real thing. They're turning guys into the best versions of themselves. You got to trust it. I think Stearns has respect on his name, but I think like any fan, these signings happen in the offseason and you don't know. And if they're not flashy and they're not, like I said, I can't remember what other pitchers were still available. I'd have to go back and look at the transactions. Like somebody else was available that the Mets could have got. And when they get Griffin Canning, it's like, oh, no, what are we doing? Griffin Canning. Good to have him now. You don't mind having him now. And even like Kodai Senga. Kodai Senga's first outing, he faced the same lineup in Miami. And now his second outing faces the same team. What a difference a week makes. And then Sandy Alcantara, who a lot of Mets fans and Yankee fans are interested in, he's on paternity leave. These guys don't time this thing up right. Andrew's in Far Rockaway on the Fan before we go to the break and the update. I got you in there. Go for it.
Thank you. Just want to explain the Yankee Sox chant in the Mets Stadium tonight. It was in the 8th inning. Kid, I happen to know, with Yankee jersey and Yankee hat. He goes up to a bunch of Mets fans and starts like screaming, "Let's go Yankees!" Everyone starts booing, and then guys start like throwing beers and water bottles at him, and the whole security thing. But that's why the Yankee Sox chant started.
Okay.
Started to the Yankee fan that pulled up from that stadium.
Thank you for verifying that. In my notes, I have Yankees suck chant breaks out again in the 8th. What about the 6th? Do you know what happened in the 6th that made the Yankees suck chant break out?
Yeah, during like one of these games on Mets thing, it was like a Mets trivia thing, and the same kid goes in the background with his Yankees jersey and starts like screaming, "Let's go Yankees!"
The ball's on that guy after the Yankee game earlier today. That guy must have been drunk. Thanks for the call. I don't know, man. This is gonna go on, and you know what? I've heard all of our hosts speak on it. Other hosts speak on it. Other people. You can't police fans, so don't get mad about it, and don't get on a microphone thinking that you can call for something. You can't. People pay for their tickets to go in there and do what they want to do. The audacity of a Yankees fan going to Queens tonight as the Mets are rolling, thinking that you can't do anything. You look dumb. Sit down, be humble, actually stay home or go there and dress neutral. But I'm saying, like, for people calling for the Juan Soto chance to stop or Yankee suck chance to stop, they'll never stop. Baseball is back. Both sides are good. This is New York. When the Yankees are out of town, Yankee fans go to Queens. When the Mets are out of town, there were clearly Mets fans wearing Juan Soto jerseys in Yankee Stadium. It is what it is. 888-808-1019. Only got 1 hour left. Call me up. Keith McPherson on the Fan. We'll be right back. What's up, man? You need a cover? All right, let's see here. We were talking about Glaber, Schmidt comes back, probably Warren out. At least the Jays did us a solid and slowed down the Sox at Fenway tonight. Yeah, Sox were looking good over the weekend and ton of hype around Bregman and what they're doing. But it's early, man. I'm not hyping anything. Thanks for being on tonight, Keith. Put my dog down today. Your live streams are a huge help. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. If me being here helps you, I'm glad to be here for you. That just made me sad. I'm sorry to hear that. Jazz shouldn't be going for the long ball. Just get on base and steal some bags. He shouldn't be hitting behind Judge. He's gonna be. He's behind Goldie today.
Good morning at 1 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti, and this report is brought to you by police officers right2sue.com. Florida rallied from 12 points down. They stunned Houston 65-63. Cougars unable to get a shot off the final 19 seconds on the last possession. Florida secured their third national championship in school history. Juan Soto, Ribby double. Francisco Lindor, 3 hits, including the 1,500th of his career. As the Mets shut down the Marlins 2-0, pushing their win streak up to 5. Kodai Senga scattered 5 hits over 5 scoreless, but Carlos Mendoza still trying to take things slow with him. New odds for today's game moved up to 410, trying to get ahead of the weather that's predicted for tonight. Andy Banez, a 3-run shot. Carlos Rodon tagged 6 runs, 6 innings, 8 Ks as the Tigers race the Yankees 6-2. And the Rangers continue to fade. Lost to the Lightning 5-1. Tampa put up 3 goals in less than 2 minutes in the first. As the Blue Shirts sit 6 points back of the final wild card. This report is brought to you by police officers right2sue.com. 42 degrees, cloudy sky at Central Park, and that's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
How do you feel about the move in Volpe to lead off? No, we've learned from the last 2 years. Well, Keith does say all sorts of random, sometimes inappropriate stuff can be pretty funny. Sit down. Be humble. Just sit down and be quiet, bro. You're embarrassing all of us. Keith McPherson on the fan. I don't know. I've been to hundreds of baseball games. I just know you cannot police fans. You cannot tell anybody what to do. But I'll say this. Like, if you're a Yankee fan rolling into Citi Field tonight, okay, wear your Yankee gear because you're a Yankee fan on that side of New York or whatever. But to be obnoxious, to be drawn, I don't know. We're just in a weird ass time. Like, this social media time is so corny. Like, I'm ready to age out of it. By the time my son starts knowing what social media and stuff is, I'm out, yo. I'm out because it's like everything in our reality is done for clicks. Everything is done for social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of these guys are going to the stadiums like, oh, I'm going to wear my Yankee jersey. I'm going to get a rise out of people. Okay. But then, you know, like, it used to be you go to the stadium in an opposing team's gear to get a rise out of somebody. Someone might rise up and swing on you. Now, people don't do that as much because of the video camera, and that's obvious evidence. And I don't know. We're just in a weird time, man. I say this again. I've been to Mets games with wearing all black with no logo on. You know, I always say when I go to Yankee Stadium, when people aren't wearing Yankees gear or don't have a Yankee logo, I say, why are you undeclared? You're not a Yankee fan? Okay, respect. Understand. You're not a Yankee fan, but you're not coming here with a target on you. You're not coming here looking for that attention. You know, shout out to Andrew who called and said, hey, I can tell you why those Yankee sucks chants broke out. But, like, you know, I'm listening to Howie Rose, and he's like, the Yankees aren't here. They played earlier today, and they lost. But people are going to chant Yankees suck. They're going to chant F. Juan Soto. They're going to chant whatever they want to chant. I just had somebody going back and forth with me on Instagram. And that too. I'm a hop, skip, and a jump away from having no time to go back and forth with y'all. I'm living my best life. I ain't going back and forth with you. This guy was going back and forth with me. I'm like, listen, they replaced Altuve with Juan Soto. That's all it is. For 4 seasons, they chanted F Altuve. Oh, well, that's different. He robbed Judge of an MVP. They stole our chance at going. I'm like, it's not that deep, Brody. It is not that deep. I'm telling you, fans are chanting F Juan Soto the same way they chanted F Altuve. And it is what it is. It's not going to stop. If anything, it's going to get worse. And we'll see where the teams go. You know, in the standings, we'll see where the teams go. We still have well over a month until the teams face off, but like we're just getting started, man. And it's a copycat league. It is monkey see, monkey do. So if somebody buys a Juan Soto jersey and goes to Yankee Stadium and their TikTok or reel gets 100,000 views, the next person is following up trying to do that. If somebody goes to Citi Field and gets all of this attention because they wear a Yankee jersey and jump up and down, the next person's following up to do that. So just accept it. Accept it. 888-808-1019. Let's get back to the conversation at hand. Mark, all the way out in California, back on the Fan in New York. You know, quick show. Just going to hit a couple things, and we'll be back to do this later tomorrow.
There you go. Yeah, man, I mean, quick talk about Rangers for like not even like 1 second, man. This has to be, you included, one of the worst seasons we witnessed in a long time.
It was just unpredictable for the Rangers. I don't think anybody could have predicted the way that this season went after last year. I didn't have it on my bingo card. And you know what? This gives me an opportunity to shout out Sam Rosen. Because I was in the gym and I was thinking about Sam Rosen going out like this. I'm like, that sucks. But, you know, I did see a tweet where they said, you know, his iconic, it's a power play goal, like that call. Like that's a thing now, and they're honoring him that way. So good that they're doing that, but he's not going to get to call any playoff games. And this being his last season, none of us predicted the Rangers going out like this.
Yeah, I mean, they started 12-4. We're like, here we go again, man. They're going to start hot, and then it's going to be, you know, hopefully we can get hot again.
Yeah, but there was some off-season rumors about trades and getting some guys out of here. And then when they actually did start making those moves, like, I don't know, they need to keep making moves. Chris Drury, what's up, bro? How you feeling? What you thinking?
Can't stand that guy do with a passion, man. I mean, this season's been so bad that I did a little digging. 61 power play chances, and they have 4 goals. Disgusting. It's like he makes no adjustments, Gladly, the coach. No adjustments. He's just dying with playing the veterans.
No quit in New York. No quit in New York.
It's frustrating, but I hope there's changes. I hope both Drury and Peter go because we need fresh blood, man. But Giants, April 24th. Okay.
Who they picking? Who they drafted?
We need Abdul Carter. Giants fans, listen to this. We need Abdul. I don't know if there's a lot of the youngins that listen in, but I don't know if they remember the Justin Tuck, the Strahan, Ewan Yora, Matthias Kiwanuka. Too many bodies.
JPP.
JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, they have too many bodies. The thing is like, guess what? If you take a look at our Abdul Carter, he plays off the ball on early down, just as he did in Tennessee.
Yeah, outside linebacker. Yep.
And so the thing is he reminds me so eerily, bro, of like Micah Parsons. The dude can play edge. He can play
that's his comp. Yeah, that's his comp. And you missed on Micah Parsons the year you got Kadarius Toney. So
that's what I'm saying. And so listen, what's going to be crazy is this scenario would blow my mind because crazier things are happening. So what would happen?
I'm loud every day, dum dum.
Those two, and then you have Cam Ward and Sanders in the Giants left.
Won't happen. Won't happen. The Cam Ward is going 1. They canceled their workout with Shedeur Sanders. It's obvious. Callahan is done with Will Levis. Cam Ward is going 1. There are some rumors about Travis Hunter going to the Browns and Shedeur slipping, but the Giants can't take Shedeur Sanders. It would make no sense. If Abdul Carter is there, you take him. And like,
I'd be happy with Mason Graham, the defensive tackle for Michigan. I'd be happy to turn in that Specty Decky. Like that would be nuts. And I can't believe I just said the name Specty Decky, but
all right, what you got on Carlos Rodon?
dude, I called in, man, game one, it was high and dry, and I'm like, dude, it's one game, I get it. But that was clear ball four.
I'll
And I
get some
think he just
in the next break.
allowed for that, bro. But the thing about Carlos is every single game, bro, it's one mistake. We keep saying, it's not one pitch, it's just, you can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just-
I'm so tired of that, dude. Well, it's a good outing if you just take out 1 or 2 mistakes. We can't. What do you mean? That's the whole game right there. Those 1 or 2 mistakes is the whole difference in the game.
Bro, he said Danny Ibanez, he's like, that's a no-no spot. Then why are you throwing it over the middle?
Yeah, just I don't know. Thanks for the call, Mark. I don't know, bro. And I'm looking at him right now on SNY, and he's got this look where he's like biting his lip, like, bro, what? Be better. Be better. You're paid to be better. And with Cole down, damn, we miss Cole. Like, today is a day where I'm like, we miss Cole sorely right now. Because you know he'd be competing with the way that this team is hitting. I'm sitting in my apartment today. It's a 3:10 start. I'm like, we haven't seen Cole pitch this season. And you know how Cole would be locked in, knowing that these guys can hit. Maybe not today. Like, I remember Cole getting rocked in Detroit. What was it, a couple years ago? Because it was too cold. But, like, Rodon is just like, I don't know, he's like still a little bit of a head case. Anyway, 888-808-1019. The Yankees miss Garrett Cole, but the Mets don't miss Sean Manaea yet. Frankie Montas, they don't even know yet. So far, guys like David Peterson, Tyler McGill, they've been lights out. Kodai Senga looked good today. Danny Young, don't have to worry so much about Danny Young today. Jose Butto, reliable. Ryan Stanek, you didn't have Edwin Diaz. Ryan Stanek goes out there and gets his first save. Aaron is in Clifton, New Jersey on the Fan next. You got it, Aaron.
I know, kid.
Good. How are you?
Two things I wanted to say that looking at the pitching, meaning like if they pitch anything like the pitch tonight, then we're good to go because the hitting's not there right now. But when it comes, we're gonna be rolling.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
second thing I want to say, I was there in the game tonight also. Section 106. Yankee fan comes in, start chanting, "Let's go Yankees." We're gonna give it to you. They can't come into our building like that. You gotta put some respect on it.
Yeah, I just wish that we would be more humble as Yankee fans right now. There's no need. There's nothing to flex. There's no need to be so arrogant and like it just doesn't look good.
They're just going for the views, Security took them out. It's gonna happen every time.
Yeah, just get me on video. I'm gonna chant "Let's go Yankees." Get me on video. Okay.
Too many stupid kids these days,
Yeah, I know. I'm washed. I'm old. I'm not a stupid kid. I'm just a stupid old man at this point. But I'm not doing that. I'm not going. I can never get jiggy with that. Thanks for the call, Aaron. I would never do that. I don't go. I don't know. It's like a code thing. If my team is not playing in the game, I'm not going. But I understand. I went to Camden Yards and saw the Angels play the Orioles in a Yankee hat and a Yankee hoodie, and disrespected the Orioles and rooted for the Angels the whole time. I was 23. It was after Preakness. I was blacked out anyway. You know what I'm saying? But like I don't know. In New York, I haven't even been to Citi Field that many times. I went to opening day in 2017 or 2018. I wore my corporate like office clothes. I'm trying to think if I've been to Citi Field for another game. I went when Tampa randomly played the Yankees there because it was weather related. So I wore pinstripes. It was a Yankee game. And then I've been to the last 3 Subway Series. 22. No, I think I went 21, 22, 23. So last 4. I don't know. But I don't understand Yankee fans thinking that you can go into Citi Field like you look dumb. I don't know. Please stop. But what did I just say? We can't police fans. There's nothing we could tell. Go ahead. Do what you want to do, man. Have fun. But like, I guess it is a somewhat of an excuse. The same way that you heard Yankee fans say, hey, Juan Soto jerseys are popping up in our stadium. People are wearing Mets Juan Soto jerseys looking for attention. That's why you're hearing F. Juan Soto chants. Now the same thing is happening in Queens. Yeah, Yankee fans are showing up to Citi Field wearing their Yankee jerseys. That's why we're breaking out in the Yankees suck chants. It has nothing to do with what's going on the field. It's completely what's going on in the stands. But when you're listening to the radio or watching on TV, you go, come on, guys, be better. The Yankees aren't even here. Juan Soto's not even here. Yeah, but you don't have eyes. There's no camera on what's going on in the seats. Nelson is in Albany. Next up on the Fan. What's up, man?
How are you doing, Keith?
Good. How are you?
So I just want to stop talking about this, the Yankee suck chain. Let's just look at the positivity. The Mets won 4 straight. I know it's already in the season. We're rolling right now. Our pitching staff is doing better than expected for most people. All I'd say is in Stearns we trust. And if I could, I just want to give a shout out to one of my friends. I have a buddy named Philip. When AJ Minter fell off the mound and Vientos had that error, he threw his phone at the wall and it cracked. The Mets are a 4-game winning streak since then.
5 now. Yeah, they won that last game against the Marlins. They swept the Blue Jays, and they took this first game from the Marlins. So that's 5 in a row now. They four wins at home though. They're undefeated at home, 4-0 at home.
It's all because my buddy Philip, I'm telling you, with his home. He's homeless right now. I know he's listening right now. He's a big fan of yours, Keith.
Well, tell him he's got the Mets magic. It's all connected to him throwing his phone. Why would you throw your phone? There's nothing that would make me throw my phone.
When Minter fell off the mound, then
But they won that game. No, didn't they figure out how to win that game? Or I know that was
all these games are close. You know, he got nervous.
Yeah, but it's the first week of the season. You're getting that mad throwing your phone. It's not the World Series.
That's because of him winning. Philip we trust, and David Stearns we trust. Let's go, Mets. Let's keep this positivity. Who cares about some Yankee fans coming and trying to ruin it? We got this.
Thanks for the call, Nelson. 888-808-1019. I don't know. If I threw my phone as a young guy and my mom would be like, what happened to your phone? Like, oh, AJ Minter fell off the mound. He balked. So when he balked. Yeah, Philip. I don't know. You got to get on the landline. If you have a landline, you call 888-808-1019 and tell us how you feel. At least the Mets are winning after your phone got damaged. You know, the Mets have, the fans, the pitch clock thing I think is valid. The fans chanting the pitch clock, whether they're on time or not, I think that's hilarious. Like I said, I was a part of the Brooklyn Brigade, the Brooklyn Nets fans that were chanting for Giannis, and the league made us literally take down the shot clock. We still did it anyway. Like, that's great. The Mets have their new, like, wheels on the bus, throw my arm out, hit Selly, when they get on base, their celebration. I remember when I first I think I saw Vientos do it, and I'm like, what's that about? What's that mean? They've kind of changed it a little bit. I've seen Lindor do it. I've seen Alonso do it. It's fun, man. You wait for baseball. You wait, for your team to get good. You wait for, things like this. Celebrate it. Have a good time. And, just enjoy the fact that you're winning games. It could be the opposite. Like, with all of the hype and expectations, the Mets are doing it. I can't hate on it. No one should hate on it. And you hope that it keeps going. I get it. It's the Marlins and the Blue Jays, but whatever. You play who's in front of you. You got to beat who you got to beat. And like I said, again, with their pitching being ahead of the hitting, they're going to hit. When the weather breaks, they're going to hit. Even when the weather doesn't break, they're going to hit. They've got too many good hitters in the lineup to figure it out. And what I think the greatest thing is, like, you're getting at bats from Hayden Sanger. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're overcoming Brett Beatty. Like, just being able to win despite those things. Alvarez will be back. Jeff McNeil will be back. Some of the pitching will be back. And guys will be back to hitting in their regular form. Like, there's going to be a couple weeks where Juan Soto is just hitting multiple home runs. You've seen it from Lindor. How about Lindor not having as slow of a start? Lindor, like I said, his energy leading off, getting on base. And then even Juan Soto, if he's not banging home runs, he's got a 10-game on-base streak. He'll work his walk and get on. So, and he's figuring it out. I'm trying to think what else from my notes that I could report from it. It's just there's nothing bad to say. There's nothing bad to say about the Mets right now. They're winning these close games. They're the make it happen Mets because they're making it happen even when they're struggling, right? Even when they're struggling, they're making it happen to score enough runs to win. We'll beat you 2-1. We'll beat you 3-2. We'll beat you 2-0. Let's go to Queens and talk to Mitchell on the Fan next. What's up, Mitch?
What's doing, Keith? How are you?
Good, good.
So, I just want to comment on Ovechkin. I'm a big hockey guy, but I think this is a fair comment for all sports across. When you got a guy who's playing at a Hall of Fame level for 20 years, you rarely see that. And there's got to be respect. And I don't understand. I never saw my Coffee play. I'm 30 years old. But, like, the game's different 35, 40 years ago. So, like, there's a lot of respect for his name, and there's a lot of respect for Ovechkin. And I just feel like people are so upset, especially, like, who's better from the 80s, or, like, who cares? Like, if they're not getting on the field together, like, why can't we just, like, appreciate both of them?
Yeah, the comparing is so lame. You can't compare eras. There's so many things that are different. Just appreciate greatness and the fact that we're able to see Ovechkin break this record. He did it in New York, and it's a record that a lot of people probably thought wouldn't be broken.
It's pretty impressive. He's played 20 years healthily in a row, which is pretty unbelievable. I'm afraid to.
Yeah, I saw PK Subban on ESPN talking about him versus LeBron and how, how much, he's only missed 35 games in 20 years and the beating he's taken and how physical he plays, and he was making some good points.
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about that, but one thing I love about all the other sports outside basketball is that, like, throw load management to the wind, because, like, they're all grinding in other sports. Like, you can grind also. But I got one thought on baseball. Honestly, as a Mets fan, I don't really care what's going to be next offseason. We have no idea what's going to be. There's going to be things that are going to come up. People are going to perform. People are going to think injuries. But so I look at the trade deadline, and the thought that I had is that why do small market teams spend on guys for 1 year and then flip them at the trade deadline as, like, a strategy in general? Like, Tanner Scott got a lot back. Why doesn't the Pirates, if everything goes right?
The Pirates aren't a good example. The Mets are a good example. We thought that's what they were doing last year, right? We thought, like, all right, Luis Severino, short little deal. If it doesn't work out, we can flip him at the deadline.
No, but someone like a Tanner Scott, high leverage arm, or someone like who is going to affect you a lot as a rental. Meaning, not Luis Severino, who, like, okay, if he doesn't work out, whatever. Meaning, guys who bona fide, give them a lot for 1 year that you can know that you can split for sure.
They got to want to sign that. Tanner Scott is a Dodger now.
I'm saying if no one was blowing you out of the, I don't know. If people would blow people out of the water with 1 year deals that would be a lot, I think players would be more intense to sign that. But I just think there's such a trend in baseball of, like, the teams who don't want to spend, they're not going to spend. And it's like, this is so low risk for you.
Yeah, there's some that do. There's some that will go the extra year. There's some that'll defer money. Yeah, I think these guys rather the security of multiple years than just a heavy 1 year deal, because then they're back to the drawing board.
I agree with you, but I feel like it's got to be something worth, like, throwing paint at the board with some of these guys and how late they go into the offseason of that. Like, why don't you see a team that doesn't spend as much trying? Like, you're not going to pay long term, but, like, I don't know. That's a thought I had. And just one thought on the NFL draft, and this is what I think about the Jets. And your caller before, we talked about Abdul Carter for the Jets. And I feel like for teams in general, if there is a need of a position opening on offensive and defensive line, and there is someone who is comparable on the board, the Eagles are the walking proof that you take him. And you don't look to take the corner or the tight end or the receiver. You could always fill that later. You take the offensive lineman.
At three?
No, not at first saying the Giants. I'm saying Jets. But I'm saying I wouldn't, if you take Abdul Carter over a quarterback, then I would take that, meaning the pass rusher. But I'm not saying that I would take Abdul Carter at 3 if you think he's the right thing over a quarterback. You don't believe in Shador.
Right. But you're saying for the Jets to go offensive line at 7? I don't know. I missed where you were saying there with the O line. Oh, you can swing and miss on an offensive lineman too, a lot.
I'd rather swing and miss on offensive linemen than look at a guy who's a mediocre tight end who's doing nothing for my team and saying like,
Who? Tyler Warren, are you suggesting?
no, I'm not saying Tyler Warren's going to be a bust, but I'm saying if he is mediocre, as opposed to someone who's going to be a solid player, I'd rather than shop free agency for a solid tight end than someone who I could pencil in for 16 games every year at right back.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Mitch. No one knows anything. These kids are going from college to pros. These kids are going to different cities. Yeah, they're making money in college, but now they're about to like get different kind of money. All of it is a chance. All of these guys are, you're hoping that they work out. None of these guys are locks. It's about fitting a need. I don't know. I want the Jets to draft Tyler Warren. I think when you're looking at position by position and him being the top tight end, like he's got the size and the stature and the demeanor and the film, and like he's gonna block and he's also gonna body guys. We'll talk about it a little bit. I mean, I was trying to keep it to Mets and Yankees. We got a break though. 888-808-1019. When we come back, I'll talk a little bit more NFL draft. We are getting close to that. And then I will sprinkle in a couple things from the weekend just to get my comments in on them. And, the rest of your calls on the Mets, on the Yankees. Yankee fans don't want to talk about Rodon. We're already on to Tarek Skubal and Carlos Carrasco, right? So, yeah, Keith McPherson on the Fan. We'll be right back. All right, chat. Let's see. Where was he? In the chat. Yankees suck. Chance better not stop. Love that energy from the ops. Yeah, but it's stupid young Yankee fans going over there looking for that attention. They don't time it up right. In fact, so everyone's on paternity leave. Must have screwed in the summer. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Steph Curry, all three of his kids, their birthdays are around the same time. He times it up right. What up with them push-ups? You're right. Let's get it. Let me hit a couple right now. Today was chest day. All right, push-up bars. I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna get 25. All right. Y'all don't need to watch. Y'all don't need to watch. It's too much for me to move the camera and whatnot. Just take my word for it. All right, ready? All right, let's go. Ready. Count it. Count it. Woo! Felt that though, because I did chest earlier today. I went to the gym during the basketball game. Like 9 o'clock. I gotta get my endurance up. I'm breathing heavy. I've been running more. Boy, dad, no dad bod. That's my whole thing. So, yeah. Reno Jack, I think I addressed you before. Ain't so loud today. Caught that L. Bro, I went and watched the Yankees lose Game 5 of the World Series, and I'm still talking, and I'm still loud. There is no L that will ever quiet me. I do a show. I'm paid to speak. Do you think Jazz gets moved down to 6 or 7? Nah, not yet. It's early, but he has been striking out at a high, alarming rate. That's why you can't bat him leadoff. Rolling along. Hey, Keith, love the show. Appreciate it. Budo, rocking everywhere. Yeah, he's nice. He is nice. Good to have him. Yo, so the broke phone kid is on the line. He called from the landline. We'll talk to him next. If the Yankees can get Sandy, do you think Hunter Green would be an option? He looks pretty good this year. I don't think they're going to sell him off. There's always a Yankees tax. Nobody wants to help the Yankees. I was at the game, Yankees versus Tampa due to Hurricane Maria. I think I got great seats. Yeah, for 25, got a foul ball. It was a fun time. The Gators win. Oh, you're alumni. Congrats. It's a special feeling. You know, I'm glad that I grew out of being a Duke fan because I would have been hurt on Saturday night, boy. I would have been feeling that one. I would have been upset. I see you, Unc Keith. Yeah, I'm definitely in the Unc status, but my sister ain't having no kids. Rest in peace to my brother. He didn't have no kids either. But I'm definitely in that Unc age range. 28 for champs. Yeah, it'd be nice if it was this year. It'd be nice if we could get a one shining Yankee moment. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure tomorrow is, or today now, is Cookie Carrasco, Carlos Carrasco versus Tarek Skubal, and Clay Holmes versus Connor Gillespie. All right, here we go. We're coming back. Okay, take this all the way to 54. Okay, we don't have any other spots. Fine by me. All right, I'm here. I was talking to Zoo. You know what? I mean, shout out to Phil, who broke his phone when AJ Minter balked and fell off the mound. I told him to hit the landline, and he did. Keith McPherson on the fan. Phil is in Rockaway. Phil, are you there? How are you doing? What phone are you using right now?
No, I got a new phone last night, thank God.
I'm assuming your parents have to help you get a phone. No, you guys seem like young guys.
Yeah, no, so I'm not telling the whole story, I just told him my phone broke. Never said anything about how it broke. Let me explain. It's pretty bad, but I was to the game, I was in school, and it's frustrating because the Mets haven't scored runs throughout the year, so I wasn't too happy with production. And then
throughout the week, it was the first week. It wasn't the year.
Listen, we're playing the Marlins. I'm expecting high runs every game. The offense is playing happening. Minter comes in and falls off the mound. So first I threw my phone once, didn't break. It was still going well. And then the next pitch, there was a chopper to Vientos, which he handled awkwardly and didn't make a throw and he scored a run. Which is second error of the game. I think he already emailed the catcher, and at that point I kind of excited. I wasn't thinking too much, so I just let my phone go and it staggered, and yeah, that was the end of it.
So, like, you were in school? Did it hit like the brick walls in the school? Because sometimes they got those.
Yeah, it's right into a brick wall.
All right, well, AJ Minter has looked much better every time out since, and the Mets are rolling, and there's a lot of people pointing to a bunch of different things, and your boy called and said, since Phil broke that phone, the Mets haven't lost a game, so you get some of that credit too.
Yeah, I think he hooked up first pitch. I need to come next scrimmage. Next big thing.
I mean, if the Rizzler can throw first pitch, you can definitely throw first pitch, Phil. Thanks for the call. 888-808-1019. The Rizzler. I rock with him. I know people can't see me. Zoo. Well, people can see me. I'm on the live doing the Rizzler.
What, the Costco guys dropped a song?
Yeah, and his voice is so high pitched. I never make it through like 3 seconds of their music video because it's so cringe.
The only reason I do is because I love reading the comments, so I hear it in the back. That section is wild.
The comments are funnier than the music video. I'm sure people are cutting them up, roasting them.
Does America really deserve this?
No, we don't. We don't. It's like, my name is Big Justice, and I'm Big AJ, and he's the Rizzler. And the Rizzler like, yeah, coming through. It's just so cheesy. It's so corny. But yo, props to them. They made a way. They started with the Costco food reviews. Why are you eating in Costco? I never thought to eat in Costco or BJ's. I buy food in there, maybe take it home to cook, but I never have partaken in the side like. Yeah. It's so dumb. The things that go viral. It's so dumb. The things that we like now. That these are the people that we prop up in society. Like here comes the boom. A chocolate, a chicken bake, a double chocolate. Like, come on, yo. They came out of nowhere with it, so I can't even hate. They're linked in with the Yankees. But that's the thing about the Rizzler. Before we get back to the phones at 888-808-1019, the Mets are undefeated since the Rizzler threw out first pitch. But when I saw him in the Yankees gear or in the Mets gear, I'm like, I recently saw him in Yankees gear. He is in a Booking.com commercial wearing a Yankees robe. And I posted about it. I said, my man getting money both ways, Mets and Yankees. He's a kid. You don't have to choose a side. Get money on both sides. If they pay you Booking.com to wear a Yankees robe, take that money. If the Mets host you to come out and probably put you and your dad in really nice seats, get that money, man. Get that opportunity, man. So I don't hate it at all. The Mets are winning. Something that I will put out there. I put it out there last year too. Evan Roberts needs to throw out a first pitch. He wrote a book called My Mets Bible. And if you listen to this guy talk about the Mets, I don't think there's that many bigger Mets fans. How do you not have the host of Evan and Tiki, Evan Roberts, the author of My Mets Bible? It's actually late. It's not like Evan just started being like this. It's late. Evan should get to throw out a first pitch. If they're having Grimace last year, Hawk Tua last year. I have two friends that threw out first pitches. They might not really be bigger than Evan. They're bigger on social media. My guy Nicky Kaz, and I saw Nicky Kaz was in the Cadillac Club, and it's funny. I'm like, Nicky, you a whole Yankees fan, bro. You hit me up 2 opening days ago, like, hey, you got 8 tickets opening today, and then he ended up doing this whole video with the Yankees, and then he's feet up in the Cadillac Club over the weekend, and he threw out a first pitch for the Mets last year. And my guy Eitan Levine, aka Eitan the goalie, he threw out a first pitch for the Mets last year. So Evan's just not in touch with the right people. I'm sure we could get that done. So I'm putting it out there again. If anybody is randomly listening at 1:36 p.m., we got to get Evan Roberts in Queens to throw out the first pitch for one of these games this year. I think that's just add them to the list. How many home games are there? 81? Come on. We got to have Evan Roberts. If the Riz already went, they're going to have Big AJ. I don't know the rest of their names. I see sometimes the mom and the sister kind of get down, but don't really full-time get down there, only part-time. Let's go to Josh and Passaic on the fan. What's up, Josh?
Yo, Keith, what's doing, man?
We're talking Mets. It's a good time to be a Mets fan. It's a Mets world. We're all just living in it.
It's gotten crazy intense between Mets and Yankees fans. Like nobody's business. There's a crazy fight in the Mets and Chase Field. The Yankees fans got thrown out. They're throwing stuff at each other. But anyway, no, Keith, it's past 1:30 already. So we gotta get first of that. How much money would you take to do an ad wearing a Mets jersey?
0. I'm not broke. I'm straight. I don't need to. Let me see. But you're saying okay, if it's a high number, theoretically, to put on a Mets jersey, what's the number that would move me?
With Juan Soto.
To do an ad with Juan Soto and wear Mets gear, it would have to be over 10 G's. It'd have to be 5 figures. It'd have to be at least 10 racks for me to consider it. It's got to be something where I'm like, all right, $10,000, I could do something with that. I get paid, a couple thousand for appearances, 5,000 for different things. 10,000 is where we would start that conversation. Because at the end of the day, I just said with the Rizzler, right? Get that money. If the Mets want to pay me $10,000 to do an ad with Juan Soto, yeah. You know what I tell people? I made $10,000 wearing a Mets jersey. I'm not a Mets fan. You know that.
Yeah, you bet against them. So anyway, the stadium tonight, I got Colin Biggs. It literally looks like them and the Tigers. It looked like Sacramento with the A's. You can't blame them. They're disgusting. I was thinking about going, but then I'm looking outside. It's drizzling. It's wet. It's cold outside. I'm have to probably use a train to get to a bunch of guys. Not worth it. In these types of games, where they win 1-0, 2-0, 3-1. Yeah, I'm just like, it's better to watch that, and you know, they're not going to be full crap. So it's also like better to watch the game instead. And it's very funny, you know, their offense, I think, before this game was 27 the batting average. You know, it kind of feels like with all these wins and stuff is, you know, when you not get away with something, but you get something done, like looking over the shoulder, like, did I get away with it? It's kind of how these Mets games have been. They just sneak them out, and we'll take the bad competition, rack up those wins. Those wins are going to mean a lot, right at the end of the year. You'll remember these games. Now you have these bad teams. This is when you take advantage, and just hopefully when the weather warms up, the hitting will too. Okay, thanks for taking my call. Have a great night.
Thanks for the call, Josh. And the thing about like winning and stacking wins is like exactly what Josh said. Like you need these later. And I spoke on the Braves and their terrible start, slow start out of the gate. You want to gain ground on them. The Phillies just went toe-to-toe with the Dodgers, took the series from the Dodgers, and the Mets are right on their heels, right? The Phillies are 7-2, the Mets are 7-3. You got to keep pace. I mean, the Marlins are right in the middle at 5-5, but you can't lose games to the Marlins. You got to beat up on the Marlins. Don't look now, but the Nationals beat the Dodgers. Let's look quickly at the out-of-town scores. 888-808-1019 as I have cleared my calls for the night. But this show is over in 15 minutes. So last call for calls if you want to get in here. Earlier today, the New York Yankees fall 6-2 to the Tigers. And, I was looking at the Tigers last week. I just knew they were going to be scrappy. They played the Yankees tough last year. Rodon got chased after 3 1/3 last year. And then it set up Tarek Skubal versus the Yankees at the Little League Classic or whatever. Remember, they called up Jason Dominguez for that. Jason Dominguez took a seat earlier today. I just think that, again, about, Carlos Rodon, it's him, his way. The team is following him. He's got the ball. And on the days that he makes starts, if he's not confident, if he's letting something bother him, get under his skin, then the team isn't confident. Then the team's got something under his skin. And, the umpire, you can't really expect the umps to give you anything. The Pirates defeat the Cardinals 8-4, and I was seeing that there wasn't that many people at that game. Let's see, it's tough out there. And this gives me an opportunity to speak on the whole Roberto Clemente thing. It's just despicable, man. And they tried to say it was a mistake. Yeah, of course it was a mistake, but it's just crazy, right? Roberto Clemente played right field. There's a Roberto Clemente statue out there in Pittsburgh. There's a museum out there in Pittsburgh. And like that little 21 Clemente emblem that specifically was in right field, for them to take that down and put a Surfside can up, somebody had to have given that the green light. That isn't something that you just do. Like that's something that has to be coordinated with sales. That has to be coordinated with the fields crew, the grounds crew. And it's just crazy that we live in this time where somebody like maybe somebody that wasn't educated on who Roberto Clemente was. Maybe it was somebody that was confused. Oh, they take the Jackie Robinson stuff out of the military. They're rolling back this DEI. We don't have to even bother putting up this Clemente stuff. Let's sell a $5,000 Surfside hat. Like that rubbed me the wrong way. On top of all of the other stuff with sell the team, the fans chanting sell the team. To think that they would take that down and make that advertising space for a can, like it just, I don't know. It just shows you exactly why the fans are chanting sell the team in Pittsburgh. They've lost their way. I don't know what they're trying to do out there, but they win today 8-4, hosting the Cardinals now after the Yankees leave town. Yankees should have been able to get that last game of the series. Already told you the Nationals beat the Dodgers 6-4. The Blue Jays humble the Red Sox a little bit 6-2. You know what happened in Queens? The Marlins get nothing against the Mets. They get shut out 2-0. And the Cubs win 7-0 against the Rangers. Look at the Go Cubs go. The Cubs are winning in Wrigley. The Royals beat the Twins 4-2. The Orioles beat the Diamondbacks 5-1. The Astros lose to the Mariners 4-3. And I think I saw Spencer Arrighetti. Spencer Arrighetti suffered a broken right thumb after being hit by a line drive. So they're down a starter. The Reds beat the Giants 2-0. And the Padres beat the Athletics 5-4. What'd you say? Are you talking to me? Oh, my bad. I thought Zoo was talking to me. Let's go to Tony in Montreal on the fan. You got it, Tony.
How you doing, Keith? Man, I love talking to you. I just want to mention a couple things. I talked to Anthony Gallo the other night, and he was talking, saying that he's a good friend of yours. And we were talking, he as a Mets fan, was supporting the idea that Judge is the best baseball player in baseball today because of his awesome prolific hitting ability. And I went through a litany of players that I saw play, including Rice, Dawson, Caniglio, Stargell, Clemente, Aaron, Munson, Reggie, Ken Griffey Jr., Pujols, and Barry Bonds, and Jeter. And I said, in my opinion, of the guys I saw play, probably three of the most fearsome hitters on the equal icon level with Judge would have been Griffey Jr., Vlad Sr., and Reggie. When those players came up to hit, I'm not talking about overall massive numbers. I'm just talking about scary, beautiful swings that the opponents knew that they were in for a show. And one of the guys that I remember, my dad took me to the Montreal Expos. He said, you're going to see a guy by the name of Stargell today, and you're going to see a guy by the name of Clemente. And you just mentioned Clemente. The dishonor of removing his statue in Pittsburgh. When I was a kid, I cried because he was on a trip to, I don't know if it was Nicaragua or to Puerto Rico. He had just completed his season, done his 3,000 hits, and he was on a plane going down there to bring food and clothing to people that were poor, that were hit by devastation in the Caribbean. And the plane went into the ocean and he died. He died. And I said to myself, we lost an icon. And when you talk about icons, okay, that's Judge. Judge is on the same level as Clemente, Stargell, superstars. And people that don't appreciate these superstars, it's not right. Like, we were Expos fans when my dad said, you're going to come and see Juan Marichal pitch today for San Francisco. Watch this guy pitch. And my dad would say, you got to watch Clemente swing a bat. Stargell. These are guys that are stars. Even though my father was a Yankees fan, and even though I was a young kid and I was an Expos fan, he taught me to love the great baseball icons, okay?
Yeah.
And, sometimes people forget that, Keith. They forget that. Kurt Flood, who played center field for the St. Louis, he hit, I think he did 6 seasons in a row where he was Gold Glove. He never missed a game. He's the guy that played the most games in center field of all major leaguers. He leads and his numbers were close to 300, and he's never been in the Hall. That's the guy that should be in the Hall of Fame. So, to judge because he didn't have a great postseason. Well, Joe Rudy and Gene Tenace, or Gene Tenacci, as you would say in Italian, for the Oakland Athletics, those two guys should be in the Hall, but they had superior postseasons, and that doesn't make them superstars. Superstars and winning in the series, the World Series, is part of a team. But individually, icon players will always be icon players.
Yeah, agreed.
And given what you said about Clemente's in that club.
Definitely. Nobody talks about Steve Pearce. He just got hot and won MVP for the Red Sox in 2018. And, Judge's greatness is still very much on display. And we'll see how many opportunities he gets, a chance to pull through. I was listening to Michael Kay talk about, different guys. He's like, it didn't hurt Ted Williams. It didn't hurt Willie Mays. I know Willie Mays, I think, actually did win, but it wasn't like dominant in the postseason. It's just the narrative around Judge it's louder because of social media. And it wasn't the Clemente statue. It was the emblem with like 21 Clemente that was in right field that, honestly, when you look out to right field, it would make you think about Clemente, who played in right field. His flight was going from Puerto Rico to Nicaragua. And like, I've been to Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico. And you can't go too far in Puerto Rico without seeing 21 or Clemente somewhere. It's just crazy to think that the Pirates had anyone in their organization that said, yeah, okay, we're going to remove this in favor of an advertisement. Thanks for the call, Tony. 888-808-1019. It's just ridiculous. It's like, don't say it was an accident. Don't say it was a mistake. Own it. Someone in our marketing department was selling advertising space, and a decision was made to remove that which was not an advertisement and put an advertisement there. Somebody okayed it. Somebody had the thought about it and said, yeah, this is fine. We're going to do this. Instead of honoring a legend who not too long ago, like they were saying they should retire 21. Like Clemente should get the treatment that Jackie Robinson gets. We should all wear 21. And you know what it did? It set, the baseball world on fire in a bad way, where everybody was speaking about Clemente. Everybody that follows baseball. And like, even I saw like Brian Hope the next day. He's like, he went to the Roberto Clemente Museum that night. I heard Dave and Susan. Dave was upset about it. And like, of course, anybody would be upset about it. Roberto Clemente Jr. spoke out about it. Like, what do you think they think? Like his family members, like, wow. I think that's originally his tweet was just wow. Because it was Pittsburgh Clothing Co. said, just realized they replaced the Clemente logo on the right field wall with the Surfside ad. And this person in Pittsburgh had the side-by-side picture to show it. And it just looks like so like tasteless and classless that you would remove an icon like that and then put up a Surfside seltzer can. I mean, not that it matters, but did Surfside know that that's where their ad was going to be? Probably not. They probably didn't tell him, like, hey, you're going to replace Clemente. We're going to put your can up in right field there. Peter is in Manhattan on the fan. What's up, Peter?
Great show, Keith. I hope you're family as well. Just a few things about Clemente. I saw him at the tail end. When he came up, he was totally discriminated. So they didn't allow him to be called a darker. He was called Bob Clemente. So just moving along, he was by far the best defensive player. I mean, this guy had a gun. You can take a look at some YouTube videos in 1970. I mean, this guy dominated the World Series. But Keith, just a few other things with Clemente. He was totally discriminated with the official scores. He could have won easily another 3-4 batting titles, but they called hits average. As a matter of fact, Keith, you can look this up. His 3,000 hits it basically was like a bang bang play. So he called the official score. He said, "Look, mark that in there. I don't want to hit." And then so he was so upset with the official scorers with his original 3,000 hit. He said, "Mark that in there. I don't want to hit." And then he got 3,000 hit. That's John Madley. But this guy was a legend. I never saw an arm. I mean, if you take a look at 1970 World Series, this guy dominated. He single-handedly beat the Orioles in the World Series. And then, as a matter of fact, before he died, Rollie Miss said, "Look, the best player in baseball is Roberto Clemente. This guy's going to break the hit record." And of course, he died when he went to Nicaragua. So this guy was fabulous. Never saw a player like that. Never saw an arm like that. 5'2" player, and just a great gentleman. All right, Keith, I'll let you go, and you have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you for the call, Peter. Yeah, I appreciate that because education is important. And a lot of young people have not seen these players and do not know that their impact is larger than what they did in the game. And that's where I point to with this. I'm like, somebody just made a mistake in the organization, and it could have been a young person that did not understand the weight that it has. Like, Roberto Clemente Jr.'s son put out a statement, and he said, the Pirates failed to inform us, but this reveals a broader issue, a lack of meaningful collaboration between the organization on matters that are deeply personal and historical, like, and significant to us and the fans. Like, clearly, this is something that they thought that they could do, shut down the stadium for months and then the stadium opened back up and people don't notice. Supposedly they said that they moved it, right? It was in right field, but it should be in right field. Whatever. And the fact that the Pirates did it without talking to his family, and they came out and said it was a mistake. Of course it was a mistake. Be better. Anyway, I mean, they're Pirates. That's why their fans are chanting, "Sell the team." The owner tries to walk through his own ballpark, and people are yelling, "Sell the team" to his face. I told you we didn't have time to talk about Ovechkin and Brian Daboll going to lunch with Abdul Carter, and we didn't have time. But I'll be back the next night and the next night and the next night and the next night And time is time. Thank you for giving me some time. Keith McPherson on The Fan. Thank you for everybody watching in the live chat. And the people that were waiting online, like, what's going on, man? How long is this post game? I don't know, bro. I don't make those calls. I just sit here ready to rock. We'll do this again. C-Mac is coming up next. Have a good night. Be safe. Be warm out there. Peace. All right, that's a quick one. I'm out. I'll throw a first pitch at Yankee Stadium, but I'm not on that level yet. Definitely never throwing one at Citi Field. All right, good people. Appreciate y'all. Good night.